to come on real quick and do an intro to this video. This is the little traveler's notebook I will be showing you how I made, and it has a little cute fox button on it, and it holds 3 different notebooks. The brand just comes around like this, and then the 3 notebooks are inside. Why I wanted to do a quick intro to this and kind of show you what this looked like is because the video is getting quite long, and so I'm not going to show you everything in this one video, because it's just going to be overwhelming. It's just too much information and it's too long of a video. So it does end a little bit abruptly at the end. So I'm going to break it up into 2 parts so that you guys can see kind of what I did kind of to make this. And then I did a little bit of extra decorating, which would be the second video. So please stay tuned. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing something just a little bit different. I ended up buying the Feed Your Craft kit that was like a thankful theme. I don't remember the exact name of the kit. If it's still available, I'll put the link in the description box below to the kit. But what the kit came with was some chipboard shapes, some enamel dots, this stamp set here. It also came with 2 little flare buttons that look like this. And it also came with a few other goodies, some gold foiled doilies, these 3x4 cards, and the 3x4 cards are all the same thing, but they're just different colors, and they all say, "Today I'm thankful for." So they have the purple, the teal, yellow, orange, another kind of orangey yellow, and a green color. So that's the cards that you get in the kit. And then it also came with some 4x6 cards. This one says thankful and grateful all around, and then it's in green, thankful and grateful. This one with just the dots, the one with the acorns and the little leaves, and then this one with kind of a rainbow, fall colored rainbow. And they are grid on the back, but there's no pattern besides the grid. So that is the little kit. Like I said, if it is still available, I'll link it in the description below. But I was going to be doing a little project in November, so I'm going to be recording one thing that I'm thankful for each day in November. And what I'm probably going to do is I won't necessarily take a picture a day, but I'll think of something I'm thankful for and try to find a picture that I have, or take a picture of something to add in the album. But what I thought would be fun is if I made a little 3x4-ish size traveler's notebook type of thing with it. So I ended up making these little notebooks, and it's just using some scrap paper. This paper is, give me a second, let me pull that for you guys. It is from Michael's, and it is from the Woodworks stack from Recollections. So this is one of the hot buys they had. I'm not sure if they have this anymore, but it is all kind of wood types of paper. So I'll kind of flip through this real quick. I love this one. I didn't use this one on the albums, but so I really like wood grain, and I thought this was a fun pages to use for accents and things like that. But I thought it'd be really good for a fall inspired book because it definitely is kind of reminds me of fall with the different colors and browns. So I'm using that to make all of my notebooks. So this is the first one I made. This is the other one. And then I also used these gold hearts. So I made 3 little traveler's notebooks. They're all made the same. Basically, I just made the cover out of the decorative paper, and then the inside is just cardstock. So this is Michael's Recollection brand. I think it's the 80-pound size, or the 80-pound weight, and it's just white pages. So I did not do any decorating or anything yet. I haven't decided. I was thinking about decorating these kind of in advance and putting a card on each page and kind of going ahead and getting some of that stuff done so that when I went to do the project, I wasn't as overwhelmed and kind of get through pages quicker. Haven't quite decided. If I do decide to decorate them first, I will do a process video so you can kind of see what that looks like. Otherwise, I will try to videotape some of the layouts that I do in this album. Probably wouldn't do it every day just because December Daily is coming up, and I do plan on doing a daily kind of pages and showing that on YouTube. But so I won't want to do 2 whole months. It just might be a little too much with my job and everything going on. But I do want to share with you kind of what I end up doing these. So like I said, these are something I made. I just basically took some white cardstock and I cut it down, folded it in half, and then I stitched with baker's twine. This is a tan and white baker's twine here. and I just stitched. I poked 3 holes and then I stitched it and then tied it in the back. And I wanted to leave these tails kind of dangling. You can also have the tails inside. It's kind of up to you. If you are interested in how I made these little books, let me know and I can do a process video on that at some point in time. But I did them all exactly the same. So these are the 3 books. And then I picked up some fabric at Joann's. And I'm going to make a little traveler's notebook cover to go over these. So this is going to be the inside. And then I found this very fall patterned fabric at Joann last weekend. So I'm going to trim this out, or actually already did, and I'm going to make this into a cover for these guys. Now this doesn't match exactly, but I thought it was all kind of fall inspired, and I really like the colors in this. I also am going to be using this paper pad. Let me pull that too. I can grab it off my set here. I'm going to be using this paper pad too. This is also I got from a hot buy at Michael's, and it is Happy Fall. I got this last year, I think. This one's a really cute set. It's got all of these. I'll kind of go through them quickly so you get an idea of what's kind of in the paper pad. And I really like these. They're just a bit of a muted color compared to the colors in the Feed Your Craft cards. And that's kind of why I wanted to use this. So I was really inspired by the Feed Your Craft cards to pick out some of the colors I'm using. So you can kind of see that these really go with the different colors in the kit. So you can see there. And all my little chipboard pieces are falling out, but that's okay. So I thought that would be good. It doesn't necessarily match the oranges in this, but I really like this fabric, and it was actually on sale. I think it was like 75% off or something. So it worked perfectly, and I thought I would use this because it's just real cute with the acorns and such. So that is kind of what I'm doing. I'm going to stop the video here for a second, and then I'll show you kind of how I'm going to make this notebook cover. All right, so what I did was I cut out 2 rectangles actually, and this measures 12 by 13, and I cut them much more than they needed to be cut, so it's much bigger than the actual cover is going to end up looking. But I did cut 2 pieces of this, so I have 2 of the same panel here, and then I have this extra thick, I think it's of like a fusible webbing, is that the right word? I am definitely not a sewer, so I don't know exactly what this is called, but if you can see, it's pretty thick. So you can see it's pretty thick, and it's really stiff, and it has glue on both sides. I got this at Joann's too quite a while ago, so I don't remember the actual name of it, but it's like a 2-sided fusible batting that's pretty thick. Like I said, it's pretty sturdy, and it will keep the book kind of held up real nicely and not be too floppy. And that's kind of what I want. I want it to be flexible but not floppy. So I'm going to be using this in between the layers of the fabric, and then you're just going to iron this down on both sides, and then both things will stick together. And then I will end up sewing around the edge, adding a couple eyelets in, and then having the book completed. So I'm going to go through now, and I'm going to iron the 2 pieces of fabric onto this fusible webbing, if that's what it's called. I'm sorry if that's not the name, I apologize. But I'm going to iron these 2 things together, and then I'll be right back to show you how that looks. All right, so I have made my little fabric sandwich. So you can see that I have the 2 pieces here, and I have the fusible webbing in between. So that's what's in between, and now it's a really nice, see if you can see that a little better. Let me see if I can get that in focus. So you can see there's the fusible webbing in between the fabric. So now it's all nice and adhered, and it's pretty strong. So it's, you know, stays on. I'm not going to yank on it too much, but it stays pretty well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to size it to be able to fit these notebooks. And I guess my biggest recommendation on this is you want to make sure that you want to make it long enough so that when you fold it over, it will accommodate your books before you have things in, but then also accommodate them once you fill them. So if you're going to be doing a lot of chunk in your album, or you want this cover to be kind of used for different albums, it won't just be with this particular book. Like say you want to use it as a planner, and then you want to put inserts into it and out of it as the months and the weeks go by, then you want to make sure you accommodate for kind of whatever you're going to be doing. In my case, I don't know how chunky I'm going to end up making this album. I do have some chipboard that I'm going to be using like I had showed you earlier, but it's pretty thin. I might use some wood veneers. That's a little bit thicker, and it is 30 days. So I want to accommodate these books, and thus width here, once I put them in here, is not too wide. I would say, what is that? About a little over about a half inch with all the books, and that's me smashing them together. So I definitely know I want to have some room to grow. So if I took this and folded it over now, I would have quite a bit of extra space here. So, which I do like, but I think I'm going to only leave a little bit of space, so probably just about that much. And then that will allow my spine to be big enough. So I'll probably trim it down, oh, I don't know, probably like if I have this much space on the ends, I'll probably trim it down about this much. But like I said, I just make this bigger. I'm not a very good measurer. I'm not a very good sewer. So I kind of just make everything bigger, and then I kind of trim it down to size instead of making it the exact size I need for the books to begin with. And then I just kind of eyeball it and make it the way I think it should go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it down to be the size to fit the books that I want. And then I'm going to stitch around the edge, the whole edge. Because I don't have any fray check or anything on the edges will fray, which is actually something I don't mind so much, but I don't want to allow it to fray down too much. So I'm going to do a double straight line all the way around the outside edge of the album, I think, or the cover. I'm going to attempt to use gold thread, but I don't really have the best needle, I don't think, for gold thread. Works on paper, not so sure it's going to work on here. So my attempt is going to be with gold metallic thread. We'll see how that works. If not, I'll probably use just a coordinating color to match this so you really don't see it too much. I kind of want the stitching to be an accent, but we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how that works. So I'm going to just do a double straight stitch all the way around the perimeter, and then I'll be back in just a second. Thanks. All right, guys, I am back and I have it all stitched now. I did end up using thread, the metallic thread, and it's like this copper color, and it's gonna be really probably hard to see on video, but you can see my stitching isn't perfect, but I tried to do a double stitch a little ways away. I had to make sure the feet were grabbing the fabric, so I did go out a little farther in the book than I wanted to, but I wanted to make sure the feet on the sewing machine were grabbing. So I just did a double stitch there, real nice, simple, straight stitch. And then I also measured part of my spine here. I wanted these to fit in here, and I wanted it to be a little bit of a squared off edge so it would fold up nicely and it would be kind of even. So what I did was I ended up using my Tim Holtz ruler here, and I kind of centered it all up on the ruler. I put each of my books here and kind of put them where I thought they were going to go inside the book. And I put them about like this. And then I just measured in a bit from the center to make sure I would have a spine that would fit everything. And I knew my spine was about 1/2 inch when it was not full. So I went out about 1 inch, I think that's about, something like that. And I just drew 2 lines. And then I took my bone folder and I kind of scored down on here. It's not gonna make anything real permanent. You can kind of see it more in the inside than you can on the outside. But I really wanted to do is kind of break down the fabric and that batting to make sure that it would kind of fold nicely for me when I had my book. Plus, this will also give me an idea where I need to put the grommets for stringing the notebook. So you can see here that by putting those score lines, and it helps it kind of fold a little bit on that edge. It's not it's not exact. It does curve a bit, which is fine for me. I just wanted it to fold nice and be kind of even on the end. So that's why I ended up doing that. And you can keep playing with this. If you really wanted a nice fold, you could continue to work with your bone folder on both sides of it until you got it to be slightly more of a crease if you wanted to. But like I said, I'm not overly worried about it. I just want to have something that kind of folds a little bit and then has some guidelines for adding the grommets. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the grommets because I do want to string up this notebook. I do think I will put in just 1 set, which will give me 2 rubber bands, and I'll show you kind of how that works here in a second. And then what I can do is I can add rubber bands between these 2 and then make all 3 of them work. So I'm going to play with this a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can fit 2 grommets. Maybe I can. That will give me 4 elastics. I don't really need 4. But I might be able to get 2 grommets next to each other. But I will kind of play with that. So what I'm going to end up doing is I will put at least 1 or 2 grommets at the top and the bottom. And then I'll put 1 in the center. The 1 in the center will be for the elastic that wraps around the album. So that's kind of how that's going to be. So I'll be back in just a little bit when I figure out how many grommets I'm going to add in. All All right, so I wanted to pause here just for a second to show you guys what I've done so far. So it's kind of hard to see, but I ended up adding 3 holes to the top, 3 holes to the bottom, and then 1 hole in the center. So the holes, I used my Big Bite from Crocodile, and you can use the Big Bite or you can use the other smaller handheld one. The handheld one will work fine for these holes at the top, but if you do need to do the hole in the middle, I think the other ones aren't going to reach in too far. So this is perfect for reaching into that center hole. You could also use a hand hole punch here if you need to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add these brads here. Or not brads, I'm sorry, eyelets. I'm going to use probably these oranger colored ones. I have like different fall colors, like these peachy and these orange ones, but I think I like the orange ones the best. And then I have this craft elastic, and it is 1.2 millimeters, and this is really good for the size of the eyelets I'm using, but it is a bit thin. I would prefer a thicker cord or a thicker elastic for my traveler's notebooks, but this is what they had at the craft store, so this is what I'm using. And I'm probably going to be using this color here. I kind of want to just blend in. So this is what I'm going to use for that one in the middle to go around the notebook, as well as the straps that are going to hold each of the notebooks. So I'm going to go ahead and set these eyelets here real quick, and then I'll be right back. All the eyelets in, and I don't know if it's my Crocodile or me or what, but sometimes I don't have the best of luck of getting it flattened out real nice, but they do seem to be in there well, and they're not going to come out. And earlier I said I wasn't going to put any fray check or anything around the edges, but the more I thought about it and the more I played with this, it's already fraying pretty badly. So I thought, to be on the safe side, I would go ahead and use fray check. It looks like this, and you can get it at Joann's, Michael's, any kind of sewing area. It's made by Dritz. There may be other ones that are the same kind of idea, but basically you just put this along the edges of your fabric, and then it keeps it from fraying. It's kind of like a glue. This one came with like a little applicator on it, so I'm just going to squeeze it out, and you can just run it along the edges of your fabric here. Make sure mine's coming out. And you'll just run it along the line, and you don't need a whole lot. You just need a little bit, and then that goes all on the edges. And then your fabric will be less likely to fray. I mean, mine still does. I did this on my other notebook, and it does still fray a little bit, but it's not terrible. This should really help it, though, from fraying too much. So I'm just going to apply this all the way around the edge, and then I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, while I was away letting this dry, I ended up pulling out some wood veneer pieces from my stash. I got them, I think, at Michael's or maybe Joann's possibly. And they're these wood veneer numbers, and it was a whole set of 1 through 9 or 1 through 0. But they were really thick. And I really wanted to use them, but I didn't really want quite that much bulk. So what I ended up doing, because they are wood veneer, is, I don't know if you can see, and I'm sure you guys have seen wood veneer obviously, but there are different layers of wood that are sandwiched together here, and it had actually 3 layers. Right now there's only 2. So what I ended up doing was taking my X-Acto knife and slicing off this back layer here on the back of the wood veneer, and then I thinned it out by 1 layer. So now it's not quite as thick, and I was going to use this to decorate the album. So the album is going to go like this, or the notebook is going to go like this, and then I was going to put the 18 for the year on the front cover. So I'm thinking something like that, maybe in the middle. I haven't really decided yet, but while I was letting this dry, I was kind of thinking about how I want to decorate the front, or if I want to decorate the front. I'm also going to be using a button on the front of this, so I can show you what those guys look like. I picked out a couple. Like I said, I got these from Joann's. So I have a couple different options, and I just need to decide which one I like the best, which may be kind of difficult because I actually like all of them. So I have these little owls here, which are really cute. I have these wood hearts, and then I have these adorable little foxes. I'm thinking I'm going to use these. I really like the owls, and they go really, really well with this, but I just can't get over these fox. These I can use a lot of other places, so I think these are kind of more generic. but I just think these fox are adorable, and I like the darkness, so they're gonna pop on here. So I just need to figure out how that's gonna go. I think if I have the 18 down here, I can still have the fox or the elastic wrap around. It's gonna start wrapping from here, so it's gonna go right through the middle. I can probably have the fox kind of hanging here on the cover, and he can kind of hang out with the 8 here. So, no, I think it goes with it. So anyway, this is what I'm gonna put on. It just has a little decorative element for this. I just think these are adorable. I don't know, those owls are cute too, but I think I'm gonna go with this. Plus it will go with the wood veneer, and I think that will be a good combination. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna set this stuff aside, and I'm gonna start stringing up my notebook. And I think what I'm gonna do is put you guys on fast forward. It's not the most exciting thing, and it'll probably be not the easiest thing to talk through. So what I'll do is I will put you guys on fast forward, show you guys how I'm gonna string this up, and then if it's pretty self-explanatory, I'll just play some music. Otherwise, I will do a bit of a voiceover during this part, just to kind of explain what I'm doing next. So stay tuned, and I will show you how to get this elastic on. All right, guys, that's pretty much how I do it. So I will think about this cover. I really do think I want to put these on here. So I'm gonna check this out real quick and see how it would look. And if you saw that in the video, I did allow some slack on this. So if I needed to make it longer or give more elastic because the book got so thick, I would still be able to do that. So I'm thinking that if I put the 18 here, and what I probably end up doing is I'm either going to stain the 18. Let's see. Stain it or do something like gold embossing. I might have some copper. Actually, that's the color thread I ended up using. Let me show you that real quick. This is the color thread that I ended up using. So if you guys are interested in getting the same kind and doing something similar, I can give you the information. Here's the information on the thread. And it's by Coats. It's 200 yards. metallic decorative sewing. I don't remember where I got it, probably either at Michael's or one of the craft stores, but I did use the copper. I thought that would look prettier than the gold. I thought it might be too brassy, the gold that I had. But I'm really liking this. I think it turned out so cute. I'm so excited. So you can see the books fit in real nice. And then I'm probably going to decorate the covers of these books as well. That's probably something I'll definitely try to do before November. And when I work in these books, I'll probably end up taking them out of the cover. The cover is just really to hold them after they're all put together. It's just going to be kind of hard to work in the book itself or in this little cover itself. But I think it turned out really nice. I'm going to end up decorating these. Like I said, I will decorate the front cover here. I'm thinking about making... Oh, you know what? I have this rub and buff stuff. Let me put you on pause here, and I'm going to go get it. I'll be right back.